Here we have Gamma Pro Miss Lucy Kitcher, bronze medal winner at 5.0 at Nationals, 35 plus ages, silver medal winner at 4.5 at the US Open in women's singles, bronze medal at the US Open at 40 plus age, and a gold medal in mixed at the US Open at 40 plus age. So she knows her way around a paddle. And we're very happy to have her with us tonight. So welcome, Lucy.
Thank you.
Tonight we're going to be talking about these 3 new paddles that Gamma has recently come out with. And we're going to be talking about mostly the Mirage, which is what Lucy uses. This is the Composite Paddle. And there's the little sister of the Mirage, the Twister. And there's the Razor. These 3 new models that Gamma has come out with. Lucy, let me just ask you right off the bat, how did you work with Gamma with these paddles? Did they ask for your feedback? Did you work with them while they were being designed or after?
Yeah, so when I first joined the Gamma team, this was my paddle, the Phaser 2.0. I played with it in a few tournaments, won some medals, but I was looking for something with a little more power and a little more touch. So I had some demos that I tried, and this is what came out of it, the Mirage and the Razor. The Twister I actually haven't played with, but like you said, it's the little sister of the Mirage. It's basically the same paddle, just a little smaller.
Right. Now, did you give them feedback on what how the paddles played? Or, was the paddle already out by the time you got to it, or did you have any input on what you were looking for in a paddle?
No, so they did send me the demos, and I was using them and giving them feedback for what I was looking for in the paddle.
Okay, so you were previously using the Phaser, right?
Yeah.
And that's a graphite paddle, correct?
So yeah, that's the Nomex paddle with the graphite.
Right. Now these 3 new paddles. Let me just give people the specs real quick. Now let me just say these paddles are nothing like anything you've ever played before. If any of you guys out there have played with Gamma paddles. These are totally new. I mean, the core is a brand new poly core. They used to use that Nomex, like you said. So these feel and play totally different from anything that they put out in the past. So I really recommend people should go out and check out these paddles because they're totally different. A huge improvement, nothing like the old paddles. And let me give you the specs right here. We have the Razor. This is the graphite model. This comes in 7.5 to 7.9 ounces. It's got a 4.25 inches grip, just your standard grip size. The grip length is 4.75. Nice room on the handle there for everybody. It's 15 and 7/8 inches long, so almost 16 inches long. A little longer than most, but pretty standard. 8 inches wide, which is pretty standard width. You got the graphite face, and you got the brand new Sense of Poly core. Now, all these paddles have that new Sense of Poly core, which makes them different. And the Mirage is the same exact specs as the Razor, except for the weight. The Mirage is a little heavier, 7.8 to 8.2 ounces. And the face is obviously different. It's got the composite face. But if you're somebody like some people like to have 2 different paddles which are very closely matched, but one is maybe graphite, one is composite. Some people like to use the softer paddle, for indoors. Some people like to use the composite when they need a little more power. It's just nice having those 2 options, and they'll play similar, but one's a little softer, one's more powerful. And then we have the Twister, which is the little sister to the Mirage. It's just lighter, 7.3 to 7.5 ounces, really good starter paddle, or maybe some ladies that like a nice light paddle. It's got all the great technology that the Mirage has. 7.75 inches wide. It's a little longer. You know, this way the length is a little longer. Same polycore. A little thinner grip size. It's 4 1/8 grip. So it's a little easier for a little smaller hands, maybe for females. And so that's the spec. So let's get back to Lucy. Lucy, let me just ask you, when you're looking for a paddle, what are you looking for? You seem like you're more of a control, you know, soft player. So are you looking more for control than power?
Yes, so I want a paddle which has good control. Hold on. And I also am looking for a paddle with touch. The textured face of the Mirage, it seems like the ball stays on the face of the paddle a little longer, which gives you a little more control when you're dinking. And it also has a large sweet spot. So when you're blocking, it kind of allows a little bit of room for error. So if you don't hit the ball exactly on the middle of the paddle, it has a bigger area. You can hit the ball and it's still going to go where you're hoping it goes.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. I noticed that as well. I played with this paddle a lot the last couple weeks, and this was easily my favorite of the bunch. I typically like composite paddles better than graphite anyway. I just find them more consistent. You know, graphite's got the nice soft touch, but overall I just seem to play better with composite. And you know, this Mirage, so you're finding this complements your soft game well?
Yes, yeah, definitely works well for dinking and blocking, and also compared to the old style paddles, you need a lot less effort to get the same results. So whereas before, when I was returning the serve and you want the returner serve to go deep, you had to hit the ball pretty hard. But now with these paddles, you don't need so much effort.
So even though you went from graphite to composite, did you notice any differences? You still got the nice soft touch with the composite, but you got the added benefit of the bigger sweet spot with a little extra power.
Yeah, I tried the Razor.
Right.
I played with it quite a lot in the beginning. I couldn't decide which one I liked, so they are very similar. But when I did make a decision, it was before there was any graphics and before there was a price. You know, I did pick the Mirage, and when the paddles actually came out and I saw the Razor was a more expensive paddle, I actually tried it again. I thought, you know, it's more expensive. There must be something better about it. Let me try that again. But, right. You know, it's just personal preference. So the graphite face, it's just placed slightly differently. So. Right.
I did try this Razor out some, and it had good power for a graphite paddle, and I played with other paddles like the Tempest. It's very similar to the Tempest graphite, also the Pro Light Titan, but I found that the Razor to play a little less soft than those paddles. It was kind of similar to the Mirage, but a touch less power. But I think anybody that likes graphite paddles, I think this will stand up right up there with the Tempest, with the, you know, the other, there's not a lot of really top graphite paddles. It seems like everything's going towards the composite, and there's not a lot of choices for the graphite users. So this one, I think you Tempest users out there, you need to check this out. And these paddles do come in several different colors. I think there's 2 color choices for each one. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I've got...
You don't get this pink and blue. By the way, these graphics are just amazing. I think these are some of the sharpest paddles around. You know, these are very eye-catching colors. Some people complain about some of the other paddle manufacturers that, you know, some of these paddles look kind of bland, kind of plain, but I don't think anyone's going to be saying that about these guys.
So the Razor is the two middle paddles, the purple and green, and then the Mirage, the outer two. I have both the Mirage. That's the one, the orange one. I think that's the one you have.
Yeah.
And then this is the one that matches my shirt.
That's the same one I have, yeah.
Okay.
So I think there's two choices between the Mirage and the Razor, and the Twister only comes in this color.
Correct.
And I think the Gamma rep was telling me that they're planning on, I think they have another paddle coming out, like a long skinny blade type paddle. But if it's got this this same kind of technology in it and plays like these, I think that'll be a good paddle for people that like that type of paddle to check out. I'm not sure when that's coming out, but something to look for.
In 2018. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Lucy, is there anything that you find unique about these paddles? I know Gamma is known for their great handles and their grips. Not the handle, the grip. I used to actually play with a Gamma tennis racket, and they never really gained traction. The tennis rackets didn't, because they just got eaten up by the giants, you know, the Babolat, the Wilson, the head rackets. But they actually made good quality products, and I always loved their tennis strings were always great, but I always really liked their grips. And the grips that come on these paddles, they're all kind of, I don't know if you guys could see, they got little holes in them. They're all kind of similar. They're nice and cushy and thick feeling, but what that does is it keeps the sweat away from your hand. And sometimes I like to put an over grip on some of these, but there's really no need to. I played with these, and these grips are great. And everyone that I've handed these out to try, they all comment on how nice the grip feels. And I mean, that's your connection to the paddle. So if you don't like the way that feels in your hand, you're not going to like anything else about the paddle. So my question, what do you feel that is unique about these paddles? Like, why would someone choose these over anything else?
So like you said, the grip is great. It's the honeycomb style that they have here. I love this. Honestly, I haven't seen this on anybody else's paddle, but we know the Gamma grips are great because a lot of the other paddle companies are using them as well. So that's definitely something unique, these grips that they're using. Also, you talked about the sensor the core, the polycore technology, and that's enhancing the touch. So that's helping again with your control, especially with the dinks and blocks. And again, less effort for the same results. And I think one more thing that's important for its uniqueness is the price. So most of the paddles that pros are playing with now are over $100. So this paddle is just under $90, and you were talking about the 20% discount, so I think that brings it to about $72. So I think that's a pretty good price for a good paddle.
Yes, these are not cheapo discount bin paddles. I put these right up with all the best paddles that are out there. We just got to get people to try them, and they'll see and feel the quality of them when they play with them. But since you've been playing with this Mirage, have you noticed any improvements in your game? And do you notice that you have any more confidence in any particular area of your game?
I definitely do have more confidence in my shots. Like I said before, the bigger sweet spot, you can be pretty sure that, you know, you're going to make the shot even if you're not connecting with the exact center point of the paddle. But I think more importantly is what we're hearing from the recreational players who are using them. You know, I hear a lot of people saying I can dink better, I have more confidence, I make less mistakes, and I love the grip.
Right. And the thing about the Mirage that I noticed is it's just a very smooth feeling paddle. And I was really able to dial in I was able to gauge the distance really well. On some paddles, the ball, you'll swing it, it'll just fly on you. It'll be 10 feet out, and you look at your paddle, what the heck was that? This one, it just seems to be very consistent. You could dial in your distance. you know, you want to hit that return right into the corner, you could dial that in pretty well, and it just gives you very consistent depth control is what I'm thinking. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think part of that is because the paddle's evenly weighted. The other paddles, the Nomex paddles that we were using previously, they weren't, they didn't have that.
Okay, I also noticed these are much more quiet than those previous Nomex paddles. The Gamma paddles kind of had a loud, like slappy sound to them. They felt a little boardy to me. I don't know if that's the right word, but just didn't have the feel and the you know, the texture and when you hit the ball, it didn't give you that nice feeling that these do. These all have a similar smooth feel about them, and they all they have a texture, a little bit of a texture. I think the Razor has the most texture.
Yeah.
But they're all the twister is pretty smooth, which will help lower level players handle, you know, incoming spin. You know, a lot of people they like that texture. The first thing they look at is the texture because they think they're going to be able to spin the ball off the court. But with that, it's a double-edged sword because when a spinny ball comes in, it will deflect it out with a lot of spin too. So that's something that beginners don't really want, or people that can't handle spin, they don't really want that. So this twister paddle is going to be really good for those type of players that don't want the spin just deflecting like crazy. And if they don't play with a lot of spin themselves, you don't want to give your opponent more spin. So was there anything else that you wanted to
so someone watching
three paddles? Say again.
Sorry,
I'm sorry,
I lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, was there anything else you wanted to add about these three paddles?
I think that's pretty much it. Somebody was just asking about the weight of the paddles. I think that the Mirage is the heaviest of the three. The Razor is just slightly lighter because it has the graphite face, and then the Twister is the lightest.
That's right. Once again, the Mirage is 7.8 to 8.2. The Razor is just below that, 7.5 to 7.9. And the Twister is just below that, 7.3 to 7.5. So between these three paddles, you're covering, you know, everything from 7.5 to 8.25. So depending on what kind of weight you like, you should be able to find something here. And once again, I urge everybody to go check out these new Gamma paddles. They're really nothing like anything they've put out before. Even the graphics, they're using some kind of a special process that allows them to put these really sharp graphics on their paddles. I mean, look at that. Look at the detail in there. Really, really, really nicely done, and some kind of special graphics process that they're using. I could never begin to explain it, but it really works well. I mean, look at those fine lines they got in there. Really little mini works of art. And like you said, they're very reasonably priced. I think people should check them out. And I think you have a promo code that people can use to get, what is it, 20% off to make it an even sweeter deal. Do you want to give out that code?
Yeah, I do. I have a code for 20% off. It's right here. It's BP_LK1_S6223.
Okay.
And I apologize. I was going to have it didn't work out.
I'll put that up in writing with the comments under the review afterwards, so people can get that great deal. In case they missed it, it's not the easiest code to remember, but sometimes a little extra work is worth saving 20% on these already, it's already a great value. So anybody who is thinking about buying these, this would be a good time to do it. And is the best place to buy them directly off of the Gamma website? I think Lucy is, there she is.
Sorry, say that again. Somebody...
Is the best place for people to buy these paddles on the Gamma website?
So the website for the paddles is the gammasports.com. Yeah, and my website is the 00 Stay. Josh, it's very distracting when you're on the video here with all the people's comments. And don't worry, Bill, I already signed up for the US Open. I had the early registration. But Josh from Gamma was saying we forgot to mention the fancy butt caps that they have on the end of their paddles. So I do like those as well.
The fancy butt caps. Got to give them props. Look at those fancy butt caps. Actually, he's right. They remind me of tennis racket butt caps. The way they're, they're not round. So you feel the beveled edges there. So you former tennis players, you will like these handles. So good catch there by your buddy. So did you want to talk about anything else that you got coming up on your own plate, Lucy? I think she's having trouble there.
I can't hear you, Jack. I hope everybody else can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Are you still there?
We're just gonna wrap it up, but was there anything that you wanted to mention that you had going on that you want to let people know about?
Anything I want to mention?
Right. Okay, I think we're having trouble with Lucy's connection. Her face is frozen there. All right, Lucy, I guess we'll wrap it up. I'll talk to you afterwards, and I'll put down in writing anything that you wanted to add to the review. I think we might have lost Lucy's connection. There we go. So everybody go check out these new Gamma paddles. I really mean it when I say they're nothing like what you've seen before from Gamma. It's if you think you know Gamma, you do not know Jack. Sorry for the pun. But check these paddles out. They're really, really up there with all the other top-of-the-line paddles that are out there. You Tempest users, check out the new Razor. And you Composite users, check out the new Mirage. And for anyone who likes to really like Composite Paddle, check out the Twister. So that's about it for tonight. Thanks to Lucy Kitcher. It was great of her to join us and share her insight. And I'll follow up with her, make sure there's nothing she wanted to add. I'll put that in writing under the review. So we'll see you next time. Please check out my webpage, www.pickleballpaddlereviews.net. And we'll see you next time.